So what are the major differences with the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller from the Nintendo Switch 1 Pro controller? And is there really any point to buy it? We're going to be talking about that here in this video because there's actually a lot more different than you may realize, including the fact that it has similar lifespan in terms of how long it'll last you, but it charges much quicker, which is really interesting to say the very least. And there's some other stuff, of course, that is also very interesting about this controller that you may not know, because Nintendo, as per usual with their communication, not the greatest. And this is something that I feel like would work in their favor to communicate better, a lot of these different things, but they haven't really said much. It's stuff that you really got to go digging for. And so we're going to do the digging and I'll show you guys the results. If you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe for more. Let's go ahead, jump straight into this. So what are we talking about? Well, I'm going to go over to the, a couple different websites. This is official Nintendo websites. The first one is like really blown up, so I apologize. The cropping is going to be a little bit weird on screen, but it is the Pro controller for the Switch 1. That's all I can say. It's a very weird kind of thing. It's the technical specifications. But if we go down, it talks about the size, which is actually pretty similar, but the Switch 2 Pro controller is slightly smaller and then also slightly bigger in certain areas. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is the Switch 1 Pro controller we're looking at, just to clarify. It's 246 grams. Switch 2 Pro controller, you're going to see in a second, is 236 grams. It's slightly lighter. Of course, we got all the typical buttons. The one button that the Switch 2 controller has, which we're going to see in a second, is the C button that this one doesn't have. It also has a headphone jack as well. It also has HD Rumble 2. This one has HD Rumble 1, of course. Now, the lithium battery capacity, weirdly, on this one is 1300 on the Switch 1, but on the Switch 2, you're going to see the capacity is technically smaller, but it lasts the same amount of time, apparently. So if we go down, it says battery life for the Switch 1 Pro controller is approximately 40 hours, and the charging time is approximately 6 hours, okay? Let's go to the Switch 2 one. So if I throw up the Switch 2 one, this specifications, you can see Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. It is 105 millimeters by 148 millimeters by 60 millimeters, which is slightly different than the Switch 1. The weight, like I said, is 10 grams less. Are you going to notice that in your hand? Probably not, realistically speaking. Besides that, it has GL and GR buttons. You're going to be like, what is that? If you don't know anything, they're basically these two buttons on the back of the controller. So if I actually grab my controller here, this is not the Switch 2, but right on the back of the kind of handles, right here where my, I guess my middle fingers would be, there's going to be two buttons there that are mappable. And that's really cool because that's going to add a lot of cool, versatility, different options to kind of map, extra controls to the back or remap things. Very useful things that people enjoy with, a lot of controllers nowadays. Typically, you'd have to pay a little bit more of a premium for that kind of sort of thing. But anyways, so we got that. We, of course, have the C button that's been added to as well, which is the chat button. It's just a quick way to get into the chat menu. It does have an audio jack on it. This one does not. But the Pro controller too, the Switch 1 controller doesn't. The Switch 2 controller has a headphone jack on the bottom, which is very interesting and very useful as well. It has Bluetooth. It doesn't say which Bluetooth. The Switch 1 is Bluetooth 3.0. Is this also 3.0? Is it 4.0? I think there's 4.0, right? Yeah, out now? Yeah. Anyways, it has NFC and all that, so, obviously you can still use your amiibos. HD Rumble 2, so they've talked a little bit about this. They've improved the HD Rumble functionality. It's actually a lot better. People that have gotten hands-on with it say it's way better. USB Type-C port as well, of course, for charging it. Now, here's where we have the internal battery. You can see it's only 1070, whereas the Switch 1 is 1300. So it's a smaller battery, which is weird, and yet the approximately battery life is 40 hours, which is the same thing. So I don't know what Nintendo did, but they managed to find, I guess, a smaller battery, and yet it can hold just the same amount of charge in it, approximately. But here's the kicker. The Switch 1 Pro controller takes 6 hours to charge. This one takes 3.5 hours to charge. So almost 50% less time. You can fully charge the Switch 2 Pro controller in half the time almost, plus a little bit, 3.5 hours. 3 hours would be half, but anyways, so that's a huge thing. Same battery life, faster charge time. Now, there's one thing not mentioned here that I do want to mention that has been a common theme I've been hearing a lot all across the board. And there's one channel in particularly that I was watching, and they were specifically going to a lot of deep stuff about it. And they've played with all kinds of controllers. I mean, all kinds of controllers across the board, across consoles, first party, third party. They've tried a lot. And what they said, and what a lot of other people said, is that the sticks on the Switch 2 Pro controller are extremely smooth. They almost feel like they're floating, is what some people say. The people that made these controllers, not devs, the hardware, I don't know what you call them. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm sorry. But anyways, the people that made the Switch console, the Switch 2 console, and all the actual the accessories and stuff, they're calling this like the gliding sticks as a nickname. So they're not Hall effect sticks, which might be, I mean, they could have done that in a Pro controller, I guess, but some people have said maybe they're not, there's no Hall effect because in the Joy-Cons, because they basically use magnets, and maybe that magnets would have interfered with the magnets on the new kind of snapping system. I don't know, but that wouldn't matter for the Pro controller, but I guess maybe for consistency. Either way, everyone's saying that the sticks are way smoother. The Joy-Cons as well, but especially you could feel it in the Pro controller, the Switch 2 Pro controller, that they're just buttery smooth. And yeah, it's just something that people are really, really putting out there and really praising, that these sticks are just unbelievable how good they feel. And there's no like kind of like the travel time on the triggers for the, well, I guess this was for the Joy-Con specifically, but I think it'd probably be similar on here. No matter where you push the triggers, there's the travel time is like the exact same, because on the Joy-Cons anyways, the triggers are a lot wider than they were. On the Pro controller, I think they're probably going to be the same. So I don't know if that matters. It's probably going to be the same travel time no matter where you press there as well. It kind of is on the Switch 1, I think, yeah, it's pretty similar. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Is this enough for you to buy a Switch 2 Pro controller? I mean, look, C button added, maybe you don't care. The mappable buttons on the back, I mean, I think that's pretty huge. That adds a lot. Again, maybe you don't care, but the sticks are way better. They're way smoother. And again, I wish this was something Nintendo would communicate better. Of course, you have an audio jack as well. But then also just the fact that you can charge this thing way faster, that's a huge plus in my opinion. You know, it already holds 40 hours of battery life. So I almost, like, my Switch Pro controller almost never dies. It is one of the greatest controllers that I think I've ever felt. And so they haven't really changed too much with the Switch 2 Pro controller. And it's like, why fix what isn't broken? They just made it better with the sticks, just, you know, being way better. They feel more, I guess, like I said, smooth, glidey, whatever, and all these nice little kind of quality of life improvements. So let me know your thoughts. I know this is kind of a big rant just for a controller, but there's a lot going into this controller that I think a lot of people don't realize. So let me know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you guys soon in another one. Again, let me know if you guys plan to pick this up when it comes out. Again, accessories going to be a little bit harder to get than the console, so do be wary of that when pre-orders go live April 24th. Hopefully you can secure a pre-order on the controllers as well if you so choose. So till the next one, friends, game on. Thanks for watching.